The indecisiveness and dual naturedness of our people is what holds us back. This has been historically, this has been since biblical times. This is what holds the true chosen people of the Lord back. The true Hebrews, the true Hebrew Israelites, the true Jews of the earth. What holds us back is our inability to break away from our dual nature and follow righteousness instead of just constantly returning to to things that don't help us. Like, just to be honest, like, these things don't help us. But we constantly turn to those things, turn backwards and turn to those things, or want to mix the good with the bad. That's what we want to do. We want to mix the good with the bad constantly and expect good results. First of all, we're a people who are behind. If you don't have the concept to understand you need to be turning up more than the others, then you're already lost. Like, you should be shooting for the gold standard. And because we are behind, and because of the things that have been done to us, and because we want to set a better example, that's what brothers preach who, who like are like Farrakhan, brothers who are in higher knowledge of, and try to preach. When you even people like Bill Cosby have tried to hold our people to a gold standard or better standard, but we don't understand that. We look at it as being preachy or goody two shoes or something like that. They don't, those people. It's a lot of people in our community that don't get, because they don't get how these things are needed to improve the situation in real time. See, because a lot of people don't even want solutions, and but that's a whole nother thing. I'm talking about our people who are moving in ignorance, who are being led and backwards, forwards by these people who really have the knowledge and they know what they're doing. They know how to keep you stagnant. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about, just my people, like even the women. Like, listen, ladies, you need to be training up your children in the gold standard. What is that? And it's the Bible. You need to be training your children up in the way that they should go, but so they won't deviate from it when they get older. You want to give them a worldly mindset, letting them trying to raise your children like the others, trying to raise your children with this free mindset, be free and do all this, do what you want, don't want to discipline them anymore. Like, that discipline was the gold standard for you. That's what your grandmother did. That's what kept you alive. That's how you got this far. Do you understand? You need to, but you look at that as I don't understand. Like, you want to be as in total rebellion. You want your kids, you trying to live vicariously through your children. You want to be their friend instead of being a parent, because that's the easy thing to do. That's what you've learned from other races and other groups of people. That's what you learn from the reigning group of people over here. That's why you think you saw the movie Dennis the Menace. Stuff like that. Bad black kids ain't even know nothing about that. They wasn't acting like that. But now you have black kids acting more and more, acting like being spoiled, acting like Dennis the Menace. Little girls, or Denisha the Menace is what you really got out here too. So we need to pick a side. Pick with, like I said, even and it's a lot. I'm gonna do a separate video on this, but it's a lot to do with the women too. You're the one who's left for the most part in the community for the longest. When you champion and reward guys who don't, you reward guys who are out here doing crimes, who are the worst in the community. When you reward guys who constantly break your heart, and they're not serious, when you give them like the best times of your life, or you reward them, and when you shun the men in your community who are trying to build and or lead, you always arguing with them. You don't let them do what they need to do. even if you're with these men, you a lot of times these marriages are ending in divorce, and you're not trying because you got to let the man be the man. You want to have your cake and eat it too. You want to be the independent woman, but then you want to be treated like a traditional wife at the same time. Like you can't have it both ways, and you become unreasonable. With the music that we consume. This Drake and Kendrick Lamar battle showed me a perfect example of this, and it's gonna time is revealing this to a lot of people that you say that you don't. This the hypocritical nature of the fans. You say that you don't want one type of music. You go against this person who makes the whole character of this person who makes this type of music that you've been supporting for years upon years upon years, and you champion the person who makes the conscious music or the more conscious music. I'm not gonna say that Kendrick Lamar is just like a total conscious artist, but the person who makes the more conscious music, which leads me to believe that our people want a more positive turn in the music, not just from the men, but from the women as well. And that's what I mean about the dual nature and accepting and always wanting to go back and accept the good with bad. And that's not saying that everything in life is going to be perfect, no, but it's saying that why create unnecessary problems? And a lot of times in life, people create their own problems. It's a sin problem, and it's usually a problem with ignorance. The Bible tells you, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. This is how you were able to be enslaved and controlled, and even controlled for a longer time after slavery. And while I don't, and even right now, like just I gotta be honest, right now, black people aren't as far as they should be because of lack of knowledge. And and some people don't want you to move forward. In your who look like you, they want to keep you enslaved. The rap music and hip hop has done that for the longest. So when are you gonna put your foot down, and when are you gonna say that's enough? If you really want to move forward, if not, just stop talking about it, and we can continue on. Like when you talk about, like I said, with Drake and the Kendrick Lamar thing, if we want to take it back to a time where hip hop was more positive, like a kid, and have more support, more artists like Kid and Play, more artists who have fun. We could take it. I want to see it go back to be like a time where some people don't even know how these times look. You too young. But this is when DOS Effects was out. You had Queen Latifah back when Queen Latifah wasn't in just an industry, just all caught up in the industry. When she was, you had Salt and Pepper, you had Kid and Play, you had DOS Effects. I already said them. You had a lot of people, man. Brand Nubian. You Public Enemy was even around. You had the culture was more. It was actually on one accord of, to sum it up, to say fight the power. That's what it was. It was music for us. It was informative. It was, for the most part, positive. It was. It kept us. It was fun, informative, for the most part, positive, and it was for us. Meaning, for the most part, it wasn't a lot of money in it. So dudes had to be doing it for the love and the passion. That wasn't discovered, like money wasn't discovered yet. And a lot of times those guys were underground, like it was an underground thing. The more underground it was, the more for us it was. But the more commercialized it got, the more that the people who really run it got their hands into it, and continue to you started to get it to promote negativity. It started to promote psychopathism, um, apathy, womanizing. It promoted addiction, drugs. That's what, when the introduction of Snoop and the Dog Pound and all of that, like even with NWA, they started it. Once they got on, they started that type of um, that direction where it was going, and it's negative, and it promoted negativity. You got to remember, music and stuff is spiritual as well, so spirit behind these things. Now the spirit is negative. At first, when the times I was speaking of, it was more positive, but we have to think, what do we want? Stop trying to take a lot of the bad and a little bit of good and expect good outcomes. That don't make any sense. We don't need a black culture is not negative. We don't need to make black culture synonymous with negativity. We need to stop that. And we can't have it both ways. You can't have we can't hate authority and expect good leadership and direction and order. You're not gonna have it. You can't have both ways. You need to check yourself. Understand, like, what are you, if you want to be, we need to separate first before we try to do anything. Separate. It's like the Lord says in the Bible, separating the goats from the sheep, the chaff from the wheat. You have to do that. You don't see productive white people or productive Hispanic people. There's Hispanic people, they leaving from the cartels. They leave in Mexico. You don't see, when you could just look at this from, you don't have the productive white people mingling with inbred meth sellers or criminals and putting them on a pedestal, saying that's where we need to aspire to be. And don't get me wrong, nobody's perfect. It's not about groups being better or anything like that. I'm talking to my people. My people are the ones who are behind. And it's due to a lot of these things, what I'm saying, ignorance and lack of knowledge. Like, why are you trying to continue? Why are you still stuck in this cycle of thinking bad is good? Or why you, like, just go and get every good thing that you have for you. You don't have to wallow in the misery because it's a black thing or something like that. It's time to stop that. And we don't have to be talking about shunning our brothers who are articulate or who actually have knowledge and can take us further. We ain't got to be hating on them and always trying to talk about them and rip them down. We stop that. Like, you're not going to ever have nothing. So with that being said, this is the Black Effect, the real Black Effect. I'm gone.